Oh, right, we're not. Hey, hello.
Welcome, everyone. Joe, I should say.
You're the pre-show. Get it right.
Fuck that.
Looking sharp there, man.
Snap. So, the drops. There's a trick for the drops tonight, guys. Prime drops.
There's already the exclamation point
We're
drops.
gonna get a bunch of that today.
Like, I think I might have to actually put up a command that comes up saying like this isn't the official command for drops. Like you have to go here. Yeah, I'll do that. It's all good.
Good news on drops. If you got Prime, you're getting drops.
Mm. I yeah, I don't think you're gonna quite get a girlfriend that way, but I'll see what I can do with stream elements, mate.
Relevance is a very powerful program.
I mean, that'll be
It has
something.
its limits.
It has its limits, yeah. I mean, maybe eventually they might. You never know. You would think that they would. Yeah, very much
appreciate it. It's gonna be a big
appreciate.
stream tonight.
We got a lot to cover. We've actually got a fair amount to cover. Strangely enough, there was quite a lot. Like, I don't think there was anything like monumental that happened this week, but like, there's lots of things. There's lots of things to talk about, which is kind of cool. Check commands, yeah. Custom commands. Add new command.
You guys can see the title. A little topics. Oh, I was gonna fix Azos? Absolutely. That's driving me. Wrong tonight.
Yeah, hey.
Running a little bit. Normally we. Say it was doing.
You cheeky, you cheeky bastard.
Got carried away.
Yeah, in a ship. Oh, okay, that's why. All right, makes sense. Ooh, ay. Yeah, they can't hear you. You probably have, yeah, because you've got your gaming headset on. Yeah. And every time I hear myself with some kind of delay, it always like fucks with my head to the point where I can't actually speak correctly. It's weird.
So, in true fashion, I have two very comfortable headsets. One of them is very high quality, and the other one is very low quality in terms of Well, actually, no. That's an inaccurate
They're both high
statement.
quality.
They're both high quality. However, this one is a studio grade microphone, which makes my voice sound nice and deep, crisp, and
Beautiful.
fancy. I look like a fashionable guy. I did actually just get a haircut, and like, I'm not gonna lie, like, I feel pretty good with this one. Like,
It's like I might come back to you.
Yeah.
You did some good shit.
Yeah. What's funny is normally I wear a hat for the show, so people never see my hair. But like, it was getting to the point where it was like, it's a little too long to not. So this was about time that we made this happen.
Yeah, for sure.
It's been like a month and a half since I cut my hair. It was real bad. Like showing up in a meetings with a hat on indoors, where people are like, "Did he just get back in?"
Like, don't go with sort of like a what would be considered to be like maybe like a normal hat, like a peaked hat or something like that. Like going in sort of like, why are you wearing a peaked hat? Like come in with like, I don't know, a fucking some like sombrero or like a fucking fedora or something like that. Like just rock in like that.
I have both of those. I have a cowboy hat.
Oh,
and
there we
sombrero.
go. Perfect.
Yeah.
Oh well, but you got your new trendy hair now, so
Yeah.
there's no
Yeah,
need.
we'll have to. I'm gonna move the SWAT one out of there. Unfortunately, you can't see where the other one is sitting, so I'm gonna put. Just because we need more. Clearly, we need more New World logos on stream.
Yeah, everywhere
To give an idea that we're,
four. There's four. I can see 4 now.
There's
5. There's 5.
Yeah,
1, 2,
yeah
3,
there's
4.
a creator one over the shoulder there. One might assume that we're a New World show here.
So there's the hat one. There's the box. There's the creator logo one. There's the one on the box. There's the one to the side, and then there's the one on the map. Like, you start to overdo it a bit, I think.
Yeah. Never would have guessed. It's definitely an interesting night for that one. I have seen all these follows come in. Thank you guys. It is much appreciated. I gotta get my hair cut more often. Like, stream's popping off tonight. Maybe people weren't following before because I look like a bum.
Oh, right. I should probably get my camera up.
It's probably a good idea to, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That way I can also make sure that it's up in my software.
That's true, and avoid the issue that we had not yesterday, like last time.
New year, what's the show going to focus on? So, the New World Order show was started about a year, 10 months, and I think 11 days ago. We're the longest running New World talk show, in that we've been doing it since, nobody else thought to do it for that long. How do I get that map behind you? That is actually custom printed off of a file that is actually on our Discord.
Yep.
So I highly recommend joining the Discord. Thanks for the subs, by the way, guys.
Beautiful.
This is a custom print from a print shop. I had to bring it to them. It's on gloss paper with kind of a custom frame going on. Totally recommend that. But anyways, so New World Order show, we've been doing this for about a year plus, almost 2 years at this point. Our goal is to basically just chat about the goings-on of New World. So all of the news, keep people up to date on what the controversies are, what the official information is. We don't broker in rumor.
Yeah. We may mention rumor just to sort of, just so we can, utilize that, utilize the official response in relation to that rumor, but that's about it.
Yeah.
Like, we're not rumor mongers.
Yep. So our goal is to bring you not just the news, but accurate news at that. And I'm watching chat just fill up. We might need to turn off the follow stream elements thing because it's blowing up the chat.
Although I would say that I really enjoy the guy who followed whose name is "My name is too long to be accepted."
I appreciate that.
That's pretty good. Oh, I need to turn the actual drops thing on. There we go.
Yep. So if you guys are here for the drops, here's how the drops work right off the break. For those that don't know, if you have Prime Gaming, you get these. Where, Cloud? You've actually got the link in the document, don't you?
Yeah, of course I always put the links in the documents.
Yep.
Yeah, I'll quickly. I think the following kind of thing is like definitely kicking off, and we need to drop that a little bit.
Good Lord, yeah, it's much appreciated, guys. Like,
it is very much appreciated.
Like, part of me wants to keep it on because like it's a great way of me being able to like gauge your guys' level of interest, but like, holy crap!
Oh yeah, yeah. It's starting to dominate.
So here's the topics that we got planned for tonight. We've got the mass reporting controversy. We've got average time to 60, Outpost rush news, influence mechanics, Prime gaming drops, Halloween event, chain spawning NPCs, and what we're anticipating to be a imminent drop of news that potentially could happen while we're live on stream. So,
I mean, it's happened before.
Yes, would not be the first time. So, is the thing set up with
Do what now?
Sorry.
Hey. Thank you very much for the love, by the way, guys. Cheers, Mike.
Much appreciated, guys. Alright. I believe it's exclamation point loot.
Yes. Well, I mean, there's exclamation point prime, obviously. There's exclamation point prime. There's exclamation point loot. Obviously, if you type in exclamation point drop, it will come up saying stuff as well. And all the usual kind of things. Exclamation point Twitter, exclamation point YouTube, all the usuals.
Yep. So in order to get these specific drops, you do have to have Prime. Basically, we're doing this as an awareness because hey, you need to claim them. They're yours. It's the second half of the pirate pack. It's got the weapon skin and a couple of crests, as well as the cutthroat emote.
Mm-hmm.
Another Eve guy. Not only another Eve guy. If you watch TIS, you've seen McLeod more than once.
Yep. And if you haven't seen McLeod, then you've definitely seen my work, because I basically did all of the Sunday shows. Up to the point where, you know, something happened and I really had to jump off that train.
Yeah.
Damn, I forgot the plural version of it.
Oh, good times, guys. Good times. I just say, I think I look good. Like, I never think I look good, and I think I look good with this haircut. Like, we're talking like 3 hours of the best feeling of my life at this point.
Oh, like, you're gonna be insufferable today.
Oh God, yeah. God, yeah, because the one thing my ego needed was a good kicking, and you know.
Oh God.
Yeah, good times.
Nah, you'll be fine, but like, I'm just having it up a little.
You know what's interesting? They removed Moderator Z's comment from the forums altogether.
Yeah, I know. I noticed that. That was weird. I think they just want to make sure that, like, everybody's on message and people aren't like seeing that and then just not seeing Mugsy's.
Yeah, I mean it makes
You know what I mean?
sense.
Like
It makes sense.
quoting moderator Z rather than Mugsy's like right afterwards would be awkward.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even though you could have taken the screen grab of it, I guess. Wayback Machine exists.
My hair looks good, but what are you doing about the rest? Train wreck. Yeah. From like here up, like Greek Adonis. From here down, Buddha.
I think the way you should do that is like Greek Adonis, this down below, a literal god, although not the god we think.
Oh, good times.
I might be having a moment with the pluralized version of the drop command. You guys could always exclamation point drop and then exclamation point drops to see the difference. But I hope you appreciate it.
Yeah. All right. So there's that. Let me get show notes up on the correct screen that I can actually read them.
Mm-hmm.
Prepping stuff for the show quick here, guys. But yeah, it's honestly going to be a good one. What are they saying about the auto ban exploiting? That if you're mass reporting people and there's any kind of proof, be prepared. Because that's asking to get hit back for it. So I have a feeling that there's going to be a ton of people that ask this same question about this map. So this map, we have the file on our Discord. It's in our community resources channel.
Great idea.
You should make a exclamation point map.
I'm doing it right now.
Yep. So it's in our community resources file. On the Discord. Feel free to join the Discord. There's a ton there. Hey, thanks for the sub, by the way. Information on how much influence the turn-ins worth directly after an invasion. Some are saying it's bugged. It is not currently balanced correctly, and even Scott Lane has commented to say that it's not. And that they are in the process of building a fix. Because the system is weighted. We'll get into the details on that because it's not an overly complex system, and it's designed to cause wars, but yeah.
But there is more information that we'll show it on the track for sure about that.
Is this a sponsored stream? No.
It actually isn't. No.
We are. It's not the right word to say sponsored, but we are part of the Studio Loot team, so we work and coordinate with them, as well as the newworldfans.com. We work and coordinate with them, so we do work and coordinate with AGS in terms of several things. We make sure to validate information with them whenever possible, and most, if not all, of the information that you're going to get tonight on the show is going to be snippets from developers. New information about server transfers? Not yet, but that... So here's the thing, it's Tuesday. For those that don't know, generally speaking in IT, Tuesdays are when you patch. 2 weeks ago, I think it was? No, a week ago when we did the show, we actually had the patch notes drop on us live while we were on air. And it would not surprise me if that happened again today.
And the other thing, in terms of the ball massacres kind of stuff, like we are definitely going to cover that in something that is related, something more sort of like more sort of like more sort of generalized, in actual fact, which should cover all sorts of things. So you know, main kind of, I think the main takeaway is if you feel like you're doing something like, you know, a little bit, if you're taking them, like taking the piss a little bit, like in terms of the game, like you feel like you're somehow cheating the game in some way, shape or form, you know, probably a best bet not to do it too, like not to do it, or, you know, stop doing it, you know, basically. There we go. Exclamation point map is working now. You're going to have so many commands at some point. It's going to be millions.
Stop paying bots to view your channel? We don't have to pay bots to view our channel.
Yeah, we don't. Actually, in actual fact, we don't pay bots to view channels.
Yeah.
We don't use bots to view channel, to view the channel. Like, it's
you don't have to.
thing. That's actually
the numbers that we're getting are actually from newworldfans.com, which is an embed, not view bots. So
yeah.
There is an actual distinction between the two, and I know that some people are upset by that, but Twitch endorses the use of embeds. However, they do not endorse the use of view bots. So,
in actual fact, Twitch uses embedding themselves. Go to twitch.tv, the main channel, you know, embeds other people's channels right on the main page. So, you know.
So, like, there's going to be a ton of people that are like, oh my god, they're viewbotting, and it's like, we're not. There's just that many people on newworldfans.com, and they are helping to give us the exposure to the people on the site. They're helping us to get the exposure here on Twitch. You know, fundamentally, it's a great deal.
Because essentially, the guys at Studio Loot, you know, like our content, and you know, they want to get our content to more eyes, and this is, you know, a perfect way of doing it. You know, it's something that is endorsed and perfectly fine in the eyes of Twitch. And so, you know, if you have good content, like, why leave it in a tiny corner, you know, in the middle, in the sort of like the dark depths of Twitch, right? You know, you have good content, you know, shout about it.
Yep, absolutely.
Someone said that someone put the drops rather than drop. I pluralized all of it.
Yeah, don't let the haters bring you down. Trust me, I've been living with hate for a very long time, and it would take a lot more than some people who are like. Here's the thing, like, they're not mad at us. They're not mad at us. They're mad.
No.
That it's not happening for them. Like,
no, I get that. I get
you know, and I'm that's my thing. Is I'm like, I don't take it to heart, because they pop in, they go, hey, like, what's going on? Chat should be flying. There's 4,000 people in here, like, you know. But hey, like, there's an easy explanation. There's a, you know, it makes sense, and it is entirely within the power and control of Twitch, which Twitch has clearly made a stance on it, considering they're the ones that have made the tool to make embedding streams on other websites a possibility. So, yeah. cool
I had
map on the
a point
wall?
to make, and I was
Exclamation
gonna
point
make
map tells you where to get it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's actually on our Discord.
We're getting
Our Discord is insanely active for two reasons. We also use it for our company. So if anybody's looking for a company, they're on the Paralis server on US East. Be more than happy to have you guys with us. Additionally, if you're just looking for people to chat about New World, all of our voice channels are public. Come in, say hi, chat with people. There's a large group of people. A lot of people have already made it to 60 in our group. So like, there's a lot of knowledge there. So feel free, you know. And of course, if you don't want to chat with people, we've got other channels that literally just automated pull any news from Amazon, any new official videos. We've got a community resources channel that's literally designed to get people the information that they need. New map made when the expansion comes out, yeah. If they update that file, I'm getting a new map.
Oh yeah.
Might have to be bigger. Because 36 by 36 wasn't big enough.
Like, you're gonna have a wall of like different maps as the map kind of like opens up.
Yeah.
You can just see it.
Yeah. But it is a great map. It is actually really high quality. Like, I kind of like the like old time feel where it's not exact mapping. It's kind of, you know, built out in a semi-imprecise, you know, if I said like Lord of the Rings style map, you know. So what is our channel about? We are a talk show. So fundamentally we talk about New World, all of the game news, make sure people have the official information, and that we have as much information as we can give while deep diving into some of these topics. So like last week we talked about the 3090s. McLeod, did you actually? I didn't see that on here. But you did.
The Tom's Hardware one. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. Well, of course
Awesome.
I did. Of course I did.
Yep. You're a step ahead of me because I'm, you know.
Hey, dude, like this is the thing. If I come into this show without like a G doc that's like ready to go, I am nervous and likely to use so many different verbal crutches, like so much more than I normally would. And nobody wants that. Thank you very much.
Make sure that we give Greg a solid shout out on show here. Any info on swimming?
I would like swimming
that I know of.
Like, other than that, no.
Yeah, I too would like it, and I think that if they ever add swimming, I think we can assume that naval warfare is next.
Yeah, you died. You died by accidentally, you know, not quite getting that ledge grab, and falling into the drink.
Yeah.
I think it was like yesterday or something. That was funny. I lolled more than I probably should, because that's happened to me as well. Nothing's worse than, you know, either missing a grab to grab a ledge, or getting like basically smacked off it, and then just falling into water that you know you're not going to get out of. You're just walking there and kind of going, I wish you could get like a big like you could have like as a tool like a big piece of bamboo that you could literally just like stick up up out of the water and then just breathe through that.
I heard they were adding arenas. That's definitely a possibility. They're releasing Halloween skins. I'm seeing a Pharaoh mummy skin, and but no source. It's also a vampire skin too. But I think I've got the pictures for those actually. Let me see if I can dig into the shadow gallery and find them.
Yeah, they must be.
They might not be in the shadow gallery. It'd be a real shame if they weren't.
Not in the ship? Why are they not in the ship?
I feel like they've got to be here.
I'm when it comes to elite sites, I'm in two minds about what they should do with that. Like, I kind of feel like they should have, I don't know. I have my own ideas of what they could do with the map in general, what AGS could do in general in that regard. Like, sort of, I guess it kind of in some way could be described as like different realms, but of the same map. And getting to that realm requires you to, to maybe do certain things like maybe flag up.
Interesting.
And in terms of like random stuff from I did actually drop a fair amount of money onto it because I was looking to get some like nice skins, and
there are some really good skins out there, but I do actually really agree with the sentiment from chat. The woodsman armor really is not like comparatively to like any of the other current skins that you can buy. The woodsman one just really is not great.
I mean, there's that, but there's also, if we're going there, the golden rage armor skin, for example, like that, just as a random drop on Twitch that you can't get anymore, I think, like that blows the pants off the woodsman armor. I'm sorry, it just does. Although I would say that like every bit of it, like from head to toe in golden rage armor, it's a bit much. It's a bit kind of like, oh, so you decided to just go all out. It's like walking into somebody's house and knowing that they like, sort of leopard print or like, zebra print, but then finding out that the whole house is zebra print, right? It's like, okay, yeah, you might have gone a bit far on this. Like that's how I kind of feel. Like that's how I kind of feel with the golden rage armor when somebody wears like the entirety of it.
Trying to find the channel that we were talking about these skins in. It's like we posted them all.
It was probably just general chat, but our general chat does have quite a history on it.
Yeah.
Or public chat. God, our public chat has all sorts of things in it. Apologies on this riveting content of us trying to find random pictures. We very much understand that this isn't amazing, but this is the pre-show. We are pre-showing our setup for the. Yes, it is. Yeah. So public chat. If you go back right away, I'll do the copy the message link and send it to you. If you haven't found it already, have you found it?
I haven't found it yet.
Oh, okay. There you go. Well, you have a redundant link to it anyway.
There we go. All right.
Yeah, there's the top hat monocle, the top hat kind of thing's interesting. That said, it actually looks pretty cool, to be honest. I can see that working with a whole bunch of different things, as well as the what would that be, like the skull? I don't know which one that is.
What's going on? For some reason, it's not allowing me to open new sites.
Oh, I don't know. It shouldn't. Technical issues, everybody. Don't worry, it happens to everybody.
Like Discord here, like open original, and then nothing happens.
I mean, honestly, in terms of like the various different lore pages, like, I mean, it's entirely likely that there's one or two pages that either are maybe missing or aren't quite there. Like, if you just make a forum post about it. Like the best thing is make a forum post about it, like in the sort of game bugs and issues. If just so that you can have like a somebody chase it up and double check it kind of thing. The worst that they can come out with it is come back to you and say, we can confirm that it is in the game world, so you just need to carry on looking. But yeah, it's one of those things where I saw a suggestion like the other day, basically with regards to the lore pages, and how the sort of like the blue glow around the lore pages should basically go away when you've read them or when you've discovered them. That would really, really help, because then you would know that, like, if you see a lore page that's like glowing blue, you haven't actually read it yet.
So I finally got a question that I've been waiting for a long time. That like the first person has finally noticed. I just lost it in chat. Is that New World liquor in the bottle behind me? It is not New World liquor, but it is about as nerdy as it gets.
Oh no, is that Romulan Romulan ale?
So these are bottles of Special Reserve Star Trek
yeah,
Federation.
I thought it was Star Trek. Definitely saw that. Like,
and then let's see, one of these is they're both bottles of Special Reserve. So
okay. They're not RPing it as one of them is Romulan ale. That's like
no, you can get that. The other one that I'm thinking about getting, because I drank it, and I should just fill the bottle up with I should just fill the bottle up with like colored liquid and just put a cork back in it. But I want to get another bottle of the Captain Picard's. It's like Chateau Picard or something like that. Like it's a play on Picard's Vineyard. Are there new drops to get? There are.
Oh yeah, because he's meant to have a wine vineyard, right?
Yes. In the show, he's got a in the new
show
Picard. He literally runs a vineyard.
Yeah, he's literally got a...
If you have Amazon Prime, that link right there gets you to your drops. At some point, I need to turn the autofocus off on this camera.
You just find it in this menu settings. Just be like, delete.
New to this game, and I'm wondering if there will be a new expansions, etc. in the future, and if they're going to continue our journey, or we're just gonna start again from level 1. They're not going to make you relevel. There will be expansions in the future. They've been very, very, very clear with that in the past, that like, hey, as much as you can, like they're going to continue this beyond, like, launch is the beginning, is what Scott keeps saying. So,
and if you're interested in supporting the channel, you can definitely purchase it on Amazon down below. That'd really help us out. And it doesn't affect the cost in any way, shape, or form. It's an affiliate.
There's a bug in game that's showing leaderboards and stuff. Do you have a picture of it? If you got a picture of it, I can tell you exactly what it is. You know when T5 Azov staff will be fixed? Hopefully soon. That's content I'm looking forward to running.
We do
I just
have
hit
a
60
little bit in the show about that. We do have a little bit on the show about that as well. Yep.
I'll be maxed out and everything in another month. Yeah. So here's the thing. Like, a lot of the replayable content and stuff like that actually gets a lot better at 60. Like, a lot of our level 60s basically have said, hey, the game really takes off once you hit level 60, because you're doing a lot to try and raise your watermark, which we'll go into how the watermark works for gearing. It's not how people think it works. And yeah. Can you guys please fix the war lag? A note, we're not developers.
No, we are not developers.
We are not the development staff. We are supported by Amazon, as you can see below. But We are not actually on staff for Amazon.
Yeah, we'll get into what the watermark, how the watermark kind of functions. What it is essentially is how the game determines, the gear score of items that drop when you kill hostile NPCs. Basically, what the watermark is.
McLeod, your camera's still not on, by the way.
I assure you it is.
False.
We had this before.
I lied.
Come on, man. It's literally a button. All I have to do is press a button and it works.
Shadow leveling is a thing. It's not necessarily a thing, but like raising your watermark in terms of gearing actually takes a substantial amount of work and luck.
Yes.
It also has a pity mechanic built into it, so if you're not making progress on it, the system does actually build in an element of, oh, this poor guy.
Literally throw him a bone mechanic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sorry guys. I mean, just for safety's sake, we generally tend to have like links turned off.
Wait, why is it timing people out for 120 seconds now? What happened there?
I don't know. I think it's just because it's a link, and because we moved over to stream elements rather than stream mods.
Can you hammer stream elements into
not
like I don't know, like 10
yeah,
seconds?
Yeah, okay.
Like
so
120 seems a bit aggressive.
Okay, we sort that out.
I mean, we used to have it set for 1 second. Like, it just clears the comment, so like
yeah.
Because the devs keep calling it watermarking.
I mean, that's probably one of the good reasons. Yeah. There you go, link protection.
Yeah, that's why we keep calling it watermarking, is devs keep calling it watermarking, and we're just following the lead. Doing real good. We got 2 minutes until the actual show starts here. It's a hidden level of sorts. It's by gear slot, by equipment type, and it's definitely not what people think it is. That is for sure.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that should be changed to 10 seconds for the link protection.
Okay. I mean, they also call dungeons expeditions, so like, I think we're taking some poetic license with with what we call stuff at this point.
People are still going to call them dungeons. Some people kind of like, go with the flow and call them expeditions. Like,
Oh yeah. All right. Let's see. There's that. There's that. Ooh, this is gonna be a first. With the numbers from the embed, we will take the first slot in the category.
God damn.
Yeah, never thought I'd say that again.
Although, yeah, I never would have thought that, but
Yeah. So, it is almost 7 o'clock. So I'm going to chip us over, and we're going to get things going. Thank you guys. Keep slamming the follow button. It is much appreciated. And we will see you on the other side of our intro.
Hope you like it.
Yeah. All right, everybody. Welcome to the NWO show, your source for everything New World. We have a crazy night, a lot of new news, and of course, drama, controversy, and everything that falls in between. So, first and foremost, I wanted to we're going to talk about this again, but I know there's a sizable amount of people who are looking for drops. Why you start at 1 a.m.? It's 7 o'clock here, so... fundamentally, we're going to post the link in chat here. If you have Prime, you've got the second half of the loot that drops today, which is the second half of the pirate set. Includes some emotes, some guild crests, and the cutthroat emote, and the... I'm missing it. The sword, which should be a rapier, because it definitely looks like a rapier. But we'll talk about that later.
Yeah, I think so. Oh, we got a hype train.
Yeah, we got a hype train going. Keep it going, guys.
Hype train is close. It's close. Ooh.
All right.
Thank you very much for that sub, by the way.
So, first and foremost, we're going to talk about autobans. So,
yes. Ooh.
Yeah, we're going to dive right off the deep end, like, into the fire and talk about autobans. They are not a thing, according to Amazon. But it depends on who you ask. And we're going to talk about why certain people should be listened to over other people. And this is really important.
It also kind of depends also as to what kind of ban you've received. If you got like a ban using, from, say, for example, a VAC ban or, say, easy anti-cheat, that will be automated because it's an automated process trying to find something, finding a program that you shouldn't be using. And that doesn't require like, authentication by a human. Like, that is 100% certified that you're doing something wrong, so you can be auto banned like that. But when we're talking about people reporting people and code of conduct stuff, like, that is 100% certified by a human being every time.
Mm-hmm. Literally, unless easy anti-cheat is the one that boots you, there's no auto ban. Now, here's what we're going to talk about. First, we're going to talk about Moderator Z. So, Moderator Z came out with a statement in answering one question that basically, basically said, yeah, there's an automatic ban, but it's only a 24-hour thing, and blah, blah, blah. Now, if you look at the developer accounts on the forums, you'll notice that all of them have names. They're tied to specific people, gamer tags, etc. That account does not, along with a few other of the moderator accounts for the forums. They have a group of people that I would assume are contracted or doing additional things. Fix McLeod's mic here.
My mic bad or something?
No, I just didn't have it set right.
There we go.
Yep.
Okay.
So, basically, it might be an auxiliary duty for other people within company. It might be, contracted out to a support firm, etc. Needless to say, it's not likely somebody to actually know what's going on. Probably more likely that it's somebody speaking based on an assumption that, hey, this is a thing. Didn't know they were stepping on a landmine in the process.
I think everybody has been in that situation at some point in their life where you're not quite on the same page as like what should be the official kind of line, and you say something to somebody, and then that kind of gets spread, and then you get in in some pretty like some degree of trouble because you weren't in the know as to what was the line to kind of to stay at, right? So, and this is the thing, like, this is where the moderator Z kind of thing comes in. This is also where a little further down in this in this particular forum thread, there's a sort of a screen cap of a conversation with somebody from Amazon talking about like, mentions an automatic ban or something like that. Like, this is all these sorts of kind of things, like just people not quite on the same page.
Yeah. So here's basic. Let's boil this down to the original complaint. Fundamentally, people are stating that if an individual gets a certain amount of bans or a certain amount of reports,
yeah,
that they'll receive an automated ban, which we can all see how that would be wildly abused, right?
Oh yeah,
that's
oh yeah.
Nobody is arguing for that to exist. Unless
In
we're
actual
talking
fact,
about these
we've
gold
argued...
mining bots that spam fucking global all day, those guys, I think,
Yes.
I think those might be a solid justification for a system like that. But
yeah. But there's a difference between like just hitting a bunch of report buttons on somebody who hasn't done anything, and like hitting a bunch of report buttons on somebody who has clearly got like text in their messages on the on the server, talking about or advertising gold selling or coin selling, right? It's a big difference.
Now, that's one of the things that helps us know that it's not actually a thing. Is that I can tell you that 50 people have reported these people chatting in global, spamming their link to go buy gold, which don't do that. Don't spam global, but two, don't sell gold or buy gold. You're gonna get banned. That is definitely not allowed. But on top of that, make sure that you're like. Here's the advice I want to give people: don't talk in global. Like, it's just not a good idea. Like, there are a ton of people that hate my guts. Like, there are a lot of people. Like, we are currently the top of the Twitch category right now, and there are a ton of people that hate us. There are a ton of people that would love to see us, banned from the game for any number of reasons.
Yeah, you made your fair share.
But we haven't, we haven't received any bans. I can't tell you a single person in our entire company that's gotten a ban.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying I'm anything special, but like, I'm a public figure, number one. Maybe not number one, but like I help moderate the subreddit, so people hate me from that. I'm a Twitch streamer, so people hate me from that. People hate me. People hate me still from stuff I did in Alpha 1. So
I know.
If I can't get a mass auto ban off of that, then yeah. Now, here's the other thing. This is the conversation that we should be having. Are people doing something that they think is okay, that most people think is okay, but Amazon has drawn the line shallower than that?
Not. Yeah, exactly.
Is that the problem? Are people saying something in chat that they're getting pinged for that is beyond that? I think what we need to be pushing for, and this is also what Muggsy has been out there screaming from the rooftop, hoping people would listen to him on, is that they need to improve when they dish out a ban. It needs to be more than here's
you're banned.
You're banned. You're banned because abusive behavior. What abusive behavior? When? Like, what's the context for this? Like, what was the complaint?
Instead of it just being, sorry, you have been banned from the game due to violations of the, code of conduct, right? Like, if you look at the code of conduct, like, that thing is huge in comparison to, like, things that Amazon kind of feels like, it needs to stipulate the do's and don'ts, right? But it would be really great, and obviously Muggsy feels the same way, that like you should actually be told, what parts of that you violated, and what the offending material was, right?
That's the important thing. Now, Aside from that, I think that there should be a question mark added to people's accounts if there are a ton of things or a ton of reports against them. But I don't think there should be a full-on ban. I think it should go to the top of the queue for somebody to address as an emergent problem. But I don't think it should. Obviously, nobody here is arguing for an automated ban. Like, I want to be clear on that. But at the same time, you also have to remember that bans take time. And I know this is going to sound weird, but like, I manage the subreddit. So on the subreddit, obviously I'm doing something else right now. There might not be a moderator online at this moment in time. We don't coordinate our schedules or anything like that. So it could take hours. It could take until tomorrow for things that are reported today to come through and issue out a ban tomorrow. So, things to remember is it's not what is happening at the moment. It's what happens, before that.
Yeah.
Now, is everybody, is Amazon infallible in this? No.
No. They may be a massive company with a lot of money, but they're not infallible.
I had a ban 1 hour after I joined a Polish server and started arguing with people in chat. I would bet that something you said in that argument probably crossed a line that they have in their terms of service.
I would say if that was actually, I don't want to presume anything, but if it was specifically a Polish server with set for Polish Polish chat kind of thing, or if it was just a regular European server but everybody was seemed to be speaking Polish, being categorizing something and talking to people based on their location or their sort of nationality rather than the fact that they're just a person kind of thing is probably one of the ways that you can potentially marginalize people and and aggravate people to the point where they may report you. I'm just saying. I'm not presuming that might be the case, but I'm just saying that might be, might have something to do with it. I don't know.
This is where we need to shift the conversation away from is there an auto ban to we want more clarification on the ban. We want to know, is this person when I get a ban, let's say they dish out a 24-hour ban. Hey, what actually did I do? What did I say? What was the complaint against me? And if that's the thing, if that's the thing that actually, we can get out of this, that's more important. Because I don't think that, here's an interesting one. Seems likely that there's an algorithm that detects reports per hour, and if you exceed that threshold, it bans you. Blizzard did the same thing while publicly saying they don't. So here's the other part of this. How do we prove that they how does Amazon come out and say with definitive evidence that they don't have it or that they do have it? There's where is the line of embarkation here for what amount of proof could they possibly give? Because I don't see how that could work. In terms of getting the community back on board, I don't see the path forward on that.
And also, there's a lot of hearsay
that some people are going to say.
There's also a lot of hearsay as well. If we go back to previous previous shows, right? With the conversation around how New World was apparently blowing up all sorts of GPUs, right? And there were reports of this GPU, that GPU, this laptop, that laptop, etc., 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 right? When you come down to brass tacks and actually verify these things, 9 out of 10 of these claims, or more like 90% of these claims, right? 90, 95%, maybe 99% of these claims are all bogus. People just like wanting to get the limelight, people wanting to sort of
Mhm.
seem special, people wanting to, wanting other people to kind of feel pity or feel sorry for them in some way, shape, or form. Like, we'll get to this a little later on because like we have, some actual like, some like statements from groups that actually sort of state the verified actual GPU deaths were so much lower than these reported deaths. And in that kind of sense, like I kind of feel like very much in the same way in a social aspect, you have a lot of people who say that they've been banned when they haven't been banned. I mean, I don't want to say that they're lying when they're not, but like, the logic when you look at other areas as well seems to sort of state that case.
Yeah. Now, the other side of this is, what benefit do they have to run an automated system? Like, we're talking about a company that has more money than brains, that has delayed the game to ensure its success. Like, you would assume that at this point they wouldn't cheap out on moderation. Now, what's more likely when it comes to a lot of this is that these moderation teams aren't particularly well trained. So like let's compare them against other companies. So that you've got like Blizzard, EA, etc. Like, these companies have had games at this scale before. They have moderation teams at this scale. They're not building a first in class for their company of this size, building it out, with a substantially larger player base than expected. So, maybe they're just trying to clear the queue and that there is a high level of human error. I don't know. Like,
but the other thing you also have to understand is like the there is automated banning when it comes to sort of VAC bans and easy anti-cheat bans, like, but those are solid, solid bans kind of thing. I don't know. Just seems like a lot of hearsay.
So it's definitely a challenge. It's definitely something that they're going to need to fix. But I honestly think that the conversation needs to switch. And we need to be asking for more information on the ban itself. We need to be asking them for additional details. When you ban somebody, they need to know exactly what it was for. And I think that's the important thing. Aside from that, we should continue to ensure that they don't do any kind of mass report thing. I also think that they should start banning people who are mass reporting for false pretenses. Like, that starts happening, yeah.
The other kind of thing is like people sort of talk about Vextra Life, right? Vextra Life getting banned. Well, if it was an automated ban, right? Automated bans don't go, oh well, hang on, the guy's streaming. Let's wait until he's finished streaming to ban him in this automated process, because he got banned not while he was streaming, but after he was streaming, right?
Reported.
This is the thing. If it
allegedly,
if it was
to steal from
if he was alleged, if he was allegedly banned, like and somebody had it out for him to get him banned, they would want it to happen on stream, right? That's the greatest moment. If you're trying to troll somebody with like something like automated reporting to get somebody banned, you make sure that happens on stream, right? If it doesn't happen on stream, then what, like, how can you kind of like, how does that work? Like, how can an automatic system that doesn't care whether you're streaming or not ban you when you're on stream, but wait till after you stream to ban you? Like, it doesn't make sense.
Especially when the Twitch link is not currently active. So, like, there's a lot of inconsistencies in the story, and
there is.
Let's take this from a different perspective. There are a few different people involved. You've got Amazon support, which, their AGS support has been questionable. There's a number of different instances in which there was a sizable amount of confusion. If, for instance, if you contact support, some of them will join the text session, and after 10 minutes just leave, not ever having talked to you. Seen that. There's times where they've referred to an automated ban, but they also don't even have access to your chat logs. So it's like, what level of access do they actually have? Are they talking, from a perspective of like assuming that that's the case?
But that's another side of the system that Muggsy kind of wants to streamline, right? Like, if those people who are trying to sort of give somebody more information as to why they were banned, if they don't have the access to be able to to be able to inform that person, then something needs to be changed, or something needs to be reworked, or those people need that a degree of access to a system that's required, right? Like, and I think Muggsy's like right on with the message that he had.
Yeah. Now, why would I trust Muggsy over Moderator Z, or over Amazon, AGS support person, whoever it was? Muggsy is a community manager. So I'm not saying he's invaluable. I'm not saying that he's all-knowing. But when it comes to community problems and community moderation and community management, that all falls under his team. So frankly, like, if anybody's gonna know how the system works, it's gonna be him. But I would assume, and yeah, they're prone to giving the wrong information, but generally, when it comes to things like release dates and stuff like that, those change. They do. It happens. But when it comes to, an emphatic, we definitely do not do this, that is speaking from a position of authority on the topic. On that specific topic, at least.
Yeah, and one of the questions from Rootdog in chat is like, do we feel that community management is like a human resources? There's a big thing that people get wrong with regards to human resources. People think that human resources is there for you as an employee. It's not. Like, human resources, HR departments are there for the company, not for the employee.
Yeah, I can vouch for that. I've never met a single human resources person who would be interested in helping anyone ever.
Yeah. Exactly. Community managers.
Not to crap on an entire profession, but like, if you're the one good HR person out there, props to you. But like, I've yet to meet you.
It's fine. They don't care about their particular kind of sort of the society's view on themselves. They're only concerned with the society's view on what they're representing, like the company. So it's all good. They don't care. It's all fine.
I don't think they're detached. Like, I would actually argue that like the majority of the Amazon, the AGS team itself actually plays the game. They're pretty integrated, which is actually pretty rare for a lot of studios. Like, obviously McLeod and I came from EVE Online, and it became such a problem for CCP Games that their developers didn't play the game, that they lost complete touch with reality. And that's easy to do because they're on an island in Iceland. But comparatively, AGS, they play the game. They're developers. We've seen them in game. It is what it is. So, that's basically what we got on that topic. We could go for days on just that, but the official word from Muggsy, simply put, is that I'm not sure why they believe we're using bots to moderate, but we will investigate this disconnect. We are using easy anti-cheat for folks detecting cheating. Maybe there was confusion about the differences between that and how the in-game code of conduct reports are processed, because that is an automated system. Easy anti-cheat, if it catches you doing something, which people give easy anti-cheat crap because it really only checks your memory for you altering your memory. So fundamentally speaking, like if easy anti-cheat is the reason that you got a ban, it's probably because you deserved it. Being totally honest on that. People give easy anti-cheat crap because it doesn't catch a lot of things. That said, when it does, it's probably right. Well, is it prone to having some kind of error? Of course it is. That's every system is prone to having some level of error. Nothing is 100%.
Yeah.
What's
you
worse?
never know.
What's worse, an automated ban bot or a really bad moderation team?
Oh yeah.
One you can flip off, and the problem is you might still have the second.
Yeah, exactly.
And there is always human error. We don't know. We don't know if these guys are contractors that are going through these queues. We don't know if they're paid by the ban. We don't know if I doubt they're paid by the ban. That's a ridiculous example, but like, you guys know what I mean. We don't know the circumstances behind it. I would love to know more about that. And if Amazon ever wanted to have that conversation, we'd be more than happy to showcase that information. Because I think it's a valuable conversation to have. But again, I really feel that at least on this topic, the conversation needs to shift to explaining the ban itself. There needs to be detail on the ban.
Yeah, and I think like this Mr. Vastian actually has a kind of a bit of a point here actually as well. Is there's a litany of like accessibility kind of plugins and like programs that people can use, and not just accessibility programs, but other kind of associated programs that people could be running on their computer that maybe tripping certain things with regards to easy anti-cheat or some other sort of some other associated software for New World, that could be attributing bans to people, that people may be thinking are some form of 24-hour automated ban. Like, that's the thing. So you're never entirely certain, especially when it comes to a new IP from a new or relatively new development studio. So this is all kind of somewhat new ground for Amazon Games and for New World. So there is going to be a degree of growing pains in some way, shape, or form. But we'll get over it.
I want to quick apologize for the bot. It can be a bit aggressive. We once had a problem, and it's now set to what it is in order to prevent that problem from happening again. I think we tuned down the timeout timer.
We did.
Apologize if it seemed a little aggressive.
It was his comment was just in relation to phishing bots, but in that regard, there's kind of words that we kind of feel like you shouldn't really use in chat, but we kind of get. I get the reason why you wanted to ask that kind of question. That does come under the realms of automated macros and that kind of thing. And
yes.
It's actually been really
Stream good. Definitely use an auto mod. We have a mod team here as well, but we do have we do actually have an auto mod on our channel. So shame on us. We're terrible, but at least it's not throwing out bans. One thing I can say is that I really do think that one of the things that I think could change in how bans are processed is abusive chat or spam chat, if you get mass reported for something like that, just have your ability somehow code it in so the ability to type in chat is removed. Then they can still play the game, but almost all of us are using Discord or some out of game chat service to deal with communications anyways. Yeah. At least that might be a fix, but I don't know. Again, I think the conversation needs to go to the bans need more clarity because people need to know what they're banned for so that they can stop complaining about, I wasn't banned, I wasn't banned fairly. Well,
yeah.
There's no way for us to know, there's no way for you to know, and if you talk to Amazon support, apparently there's no way for them to know because they don't have access to the logs. So
I'm sure there are logs, they just don't have access to them.
Yes. I'm sure there's logs. Yeah. They definitely log everything. If you've read the terms of service in the EULA, everything is being recorded. So, if you were using voice chat, they likely have a recording of it. So we're going to move on to the next thing.
Yes.
This crushed my soul when I found out about this. Temporarily disabling Outpost Rush. Right. So, I hit level 60 today, and this was the thing that I was looking for.
And then then I just casually type into chat oh, by the way, A's congrats on hitting 60, but they did remove, the queuing system for Outpost Rush. Sorry, mate.
Yeah. So hopefully that will come in. That'll come into play soon, or that'll hopefully have a fix very soon. Because I would be very upset if it doesn't, because that's obviously something that that I'm very much looking forward to playing. But for now, it is currently disabled. It's only going to affect a very, 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 very small minority of people that have actually reached level 60. I know there's a ton of people out there who what do you mean there's not a ton of people who have reached level 60? There is less than 1% of the game's population that have reached level 60. Yeah. So, it going down now actually isn't that big a problem. For those of us that would to play it, it sucks, but, I guess I'll find something else to do for a while.
You could say 1%. You could say 1% of the amount of people who have the game at the moment is still quite a large number, in that regard. But yeah, it's still not exactly a large proportion of the population of the game's population.
To explain why this happened, due to an issue with players getting stuck in the Outpost Rush queue, basically you would queue up and then before it would kick you into the actual game, it would just kind of permanently load, and you were just kind of stuck there.
Was it kind of like a loading screen, sort of
Yeah, you basically hit the loading screen, and you just kind of never entered the battlefield.
Yeah, that sucks.
And yeah, that's obviously not something you want to have happen. And it prevented you from doing anything else. So when you logged back in, it still put you on the loading screen.
Should have come up saying you're queuing for the you are currently in the queue for the for Outpost Rush. Please wait. Yeah. You are number 2.
Yeah.
That may have triggered a few people if they did that.
Yes. So that's one of the big ones right now. Obviously, that's big news. It's kind of a pain. It is what it is. I wish it wasn't the case because, of course, I'm looking forward to it. That's what I was looking forward to all day, and hit level 60, and
denied.
Then was,
just straight up denied.
Heartbroken when the notification popped up that I couldn't even join the queue, and I was like, or game mode disabled is what it says in game, and I'm like, no.
It's gonna, but people are gonna love it when they actually get to play it. We've we've both played it before. Like, and it's
our server
it's
actually
a
has
really
a sizable
fun game.
amount of level 60s. We now field there's probably at any point in time 100 plus 60s on our server. Can I check the Steam achievements?
Yeah. I mean, there's a whole litany of Steam achievements. Steam achievements. Let's get it right. But yeah, it is kind of interesting. What's there? It's a kind of a good gauge as to like where everybody is. Like I kind of think the average in terms of the where people are in terms of leveling process. Like I think there we go. Reached level 60.
0.8% of players.
It's not even 1% yet.
Yep.
But I think I think I heard something along the lines of like the majority or the average sort of like level that people are in is around about the sort of like 20s to 30s. In actual fact, like if you're in 40s, 50s, 60s, like you are definitely in the top percentage or few percentage kind of thing. Like maybe if you're in the sort of 40s, you're in maybe the top 20% kind of thing. But like yeah, if you're anything above that, you're definitely in the top percentile for sure.
Now let's talk about how long it takes to get this. So this is the copy of my Steam achievement from my library. I got this earlier today. This takes a while to get. Now, in terms of MMO time, normally leveling, can take a little. Normally takes a week or so. Does anybody remember what World of Warcraft is? If you don't buy it, because you can buy max level in World of Warcraft, so like without actually paying.
Really... I have no idea. I'm sure there's some people who have an idea as to how long it would take.
So I know Lost Ark, you can do it in about 4 hours to get to max level if you really know what you're doing, and are playing on a Russian or Korean server.
I have no idea what I'm doing, which is why I'm like mid 40s right now.
2 to 3 days no lifting for WoW. Okay, so this took me looking over at Steam here. If you discount for time in queue, which is at least probably 10 hours of this in total, I'm at 172 hours played since launch. So about 160 hours for me. I don't actually have the game open, otherwise I would do that. But
I mean, if
about,
you're looking,
about 160 hours. Within our company, we've been looking at about similar times in the 150s, 140s. I also was not hard pressing 60. I was also leveling up other stuff. So like,
So that like out of like a sense of just numerical kind of, I don't know, playing around with numbers and stuff, like if you're looking at like say 12 hours a day playing this, like sort of somewhat no lifing it, like I guess other people's no lifing it is different to other to 12 hours no lifing a game each day. But if you're doing 12 hours per day, it's literally that amount of time to get to level 60 is essentially just over 13 days. So that's 2 weeks of gameplay, which ain't too bad, man.
So, fundamentally, about the average at this point is well over 100 hours. So, you're looking at 120 to 130 is going to be around your average for time to 60. You're going to get distracted unless you're like hard pressed to have a clear, hey, I'm doing it this way. Like there are some people who are going to do it substantially faster. There are some people who are going to be able to get boosted by others to be able to do it substantially faster than that. Basically for me, it took until today where I finally got it, and that was about 160 hours. But I've also got near max level logging, near max level stone cutting, or there's mining, logging, you name it. Like I've got a ton of high level stuff. So,
but I think the important question that needs to be asked is, do you have tracking and skinning at 200 yet?
yes, that's actually the second
I
one
mean,
that I got leveled to max.
it's the second one. What was the first one?
Cooking.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah.
Get a buddy with the T5 camp. So here's the strat for cooking, because right now stuff is stupid low cost. Get a buddy with the T5 camp. Just build basic foods, recovery foods, max level that you can. Buy, I managed to buy like 800 coconuts. So T5 food, and the second I unlocked T5 food, I unlocked 200 cooking, because I literally just put in 800 T5 recipes, and honey is allowed to be used as a spice, which is funny because you get so much
honey is a spice. You can use berries, you could use regular berries, and then separately use blueberries as well, which is fantastic. That's always hilarious. And there's certain things that you can definitely find, like with like high spawns. And the trick is, when it comes to sort of like these these high level T5 kind of recovery foods, you only really need, unless they've changed it, I'm fairly certain they haven't, because I haven't actually done the T5 foods yet, but you have. As far as I know, you only need to have one T5 food in there. The rest can be base stuff.
Everything else can be T1 if you want. Like,
milk,
but basically, like, blueberries are easy to get. You get them around the temples in mass quantity. Honey you can get in mass quantity really easy. There's a ton of stuff, like nuts you can get in large quantities. You just got to know where they are. As long as you're paying attention, you can acquire the food really cheaply, or you can go on the market. And right now, so much of this stuff is costing nothing. It's costing pennies. So you can get thousands of units of it and power level your cooking. Which once you hit 200 level cooking, you no longer get XP for cooking, but the entire time up to then, you're power leveling the crap out of yourself, because you're also getting XP for your character and your skill. So,
and I would recommend, like, something that just came up in chat with regards to power leveling, and something that is especially prevalent when it comes to sort of housing is your territory standards, right? If you can, like, take that stuff and do that in an area where you plan to have a long-term house, or plan to have locations for long-term housing, because when you do that leveling, you're going to get a bunch of standings as well. And doing that in the right location is going to give you more levels towards a better house.
Absolutely. So basically, to wrap up, the time to 60, the average time to 60 is about 120 hours. It can take longer, it can take shorter, depends on if you're really pushing, or if you're getting boosted by other people. There's a whole bunch of different factors, but right now the average is about 120 hours. So, that said, I do want to talk about the market, because there's a lot of really good commentary in chat about the market. There is going to be some problems. There is going to be some serious problems with
I can't do half a cent.
Like,
I can't do a quarter of a cent.
Yep.
I can't sell
items
anything
need to depreciate and be exhausted at some point in time. Otherwise, everything loses value.
Now, we've said this for a long time, right? On this,
we said this almost 2 years ago.
Yeah, we were coming. I mean, I don't think 2 years ago, but like we were definitely saying that there was going to be a situation that occurs, with the game and with the economy in general, where things are going to basically, you're going to have different, like, just rising, devaluing of all sorts of different items, down to the point where they are basically worthless. And the only way to deal with that is to have items basically get exhausted out of the world in some other way other than like people basically wanting to scrap the hell out of them. Like, you have to kind of see it as like a system where you have a bunch of inputs and then you have to have a bunch of outputs, because if you have too many inputs to outputs, like you have too much stuff coming into the game, and when that stuff is ubiquitous, as in like everybody has it, then it's of no value, right? So you need to have outputs. You need to have a way of basically getting rid of stuff other than like, um, other than essentially just having people kind of get annoyed about it and having to scrap stuff themselves. Like, you need to have a way of basically exhausting supply.
Mm-hmm. And as much as people hate losing gear that they've spent a lot of time to get, I think that the repair system needs to come with diminishing returns, where you repair it once, it repairs to like 90%, you repair it again, it repairs to 80%, and each time you lose more and more of it until eventually you have to just salvage it. And I think that would be a valuable mechanic to add, that would add value to the marketplace.
Yeah, and there's a lot of reasons why people like this, and also a lot of reasons why people don't like this. Like the classic example of the reason why people don't like this is because, if you've been struggling with the loot drop system and you finally get the prized possession, your absolute favorite, like, legendary weapon, right? Do you want that exhausted within a week? No, you don't.
I think we touched a nerve in chat.
oh no, I expected this entirely. Because so many people kind of, they associate the drops that they get as being like, an amazing thing that, they should be allowed to keep, right? And understandably, if you say no, you don't get to keep that, it will break, and then you're going to have to find it again, kind of thing. It is always going to cause that feels bad man kind of sort of mentality, right? I think the way that you do that is you give those items, those especially those very, very special items, a degree of longevity that gives you a sense of value, a sense of, like, a good lifetime for that kind of that item, right? So it shouldn't ever be like, a legendary item exhausts the same length of time as like a gear score 100 like common item, right? Like that common item should basically break so fast, and that legendary item should take a good long while to break. But I do kind of feel like eventually...
Oh, I think we lost McLeod. He's hard frozen. Well, so I don't know what happened to McLeod, but hopefully he comes back. So basically, I'm gonna address a few things. One, I know a little bit more about economy than most people would assume that I do. One, I have a minor in economics, but two, I also, coming out of EVE Online, I have, ballpark 4.5 trillion ISK. So, I've been able to break economies before, and that's definitely a factor. Now, I'd love to hear a better solution in order to keep value on items in game if you don't do something like that. So, like, how do you keep value on even a mid-tier item? Looks like McLeod's back here.
Hey guys, sorry about that. I did get new internet, but, like, as with all sort of like new internet, it takes it has its sort of moments.
So to answer the question, why do you need to keep value on a mid-tier item? It's the same question of why you want to keep value on end-game items. Fundamentally speaking, one follows the other. It's a rough system. Like it's not overly great. It's not it's not ideal, but I don't see another way in which the economics work out for this. There we go.
I should be back.
Yeah. So it would definitely be a change from the current MMO kind of genre, but I think that it would be a valuable way to ensure that high-level items continue to turn over, that mid-tier items don't become completely worthless. Like, imagine if you made it through to 10 months from now, and you go to buy your T3 gear, and you just hit your level 20, and you go to the market, and your T3 gear is worth 4 cents for the whole set. That's what happens when you have a massive amount of stuff coming in, an emphasis on crafting, an emphasis on building up building up your crafting stats and trying to sell stuff in gold generation. Fundamentally, it just doesn't work. Like, and as much as people don't like the idea of losing gear, you would still get a valuable lifespan out of it.
Yeah, and that's the point, right?
Like, I honestly think that would, like, as much as that's, like, there are going to be people that don't like the idea, I honestly think that's a thing. I think that there should be mechanics in place to make items last longer. For instance, repair kits are a perfect example of this. If you use basic repair parts, you take a larger penalty. But if you use a repair kit, you might take a 1% penalty or something like that. Like, make it so that, like, if you put more effort into the repair than the base level, then it becomes a system that the item lasts substantially longer. I'm not saying you should lose it in one play session. I also don't like that it's like PvP nukes durability. I don't think that that's a particularly healthy thing either. But yeah, I think it is what it is. That's how I feel about it after a long time. I've literally seeded markets before in games, and I just don't see a solid way of not having the market go to crap without some kind of way to expend items.
But there's also another side of it. Obviously, I'm not entirely certain whether you covered this when I was like not connected, but there's another side of this with regards to crafters, right? Because once everybody has best in slot gear, right? Like, what are crafters to do aside from consumables? If there's no churn, then they're basically out of luck for everything aside from consumables. Like, you don't have any need or necessity.
Theoretically, you should always have new players coming in. To replace people who are leaving or replace people who are taking breaks, and of course, one of the things that, despite the massive numbers of people playing right now, the majority of the people who will play New World over the span of the lifespan of New World have not played the game yet.
Yeah. That in an odd way that does make sense. Yes.
Now, I want to clarify, when we talk about like item degradation, we're not talking about like I used it twice and it was destroyed. we're talking substantial amount of time. Like, even like a T1 spear, could last you 4 or 5 hours. It's a T1 spear, it's a stick. So, like, let's be real, you can make a new one out of camp. But like a T5 is probably going to last you many months. But still give you an incentive to continue to roll that content, continue to try and get those legendaries again. But, so, we're going to roll through onto the next one. And we're going to talk about influence mechanics.
Yes.
So, right now, there is a system in play for influence that does not appear to be balanced. Scott agrees with this and has posted to the forums stating, after some investigation, our team has found that influence is indeed scaling too fast. We'll be adjusting this for the attacking factions and will remove influence scaling from the defending factions. These changes will require a review and testing, and we plan to release them as soon as possible. We'll continue to tune this and other features going forward. Your feedback helps us identify areas like this that require extra focus from the team. Thank you for raising awareness on this. Hey, hush, hush. Apollo's just
Apollo
going
being
off.
All rowdy. Being all rowdy.
Yep. The Dogo.
Okay.
The Dogo. Hey.
We'll get it. Like Ace will get a second camera, and we'll have Doggo cam. Like, for sure.
I need a second cam for that. Yeah. Yeah. He apparently did not like the influence nerf. So here's the thing. Let's talk about how it stands right now. If your faction owns the most territories, i.e., you own more than 50% of them, or more than the other two factions, basically, you are the overdog, i.e., you are the dominant faction on the map. Currently, there is a penalty to the missions you put in for PvP, which means when you put them in, your mission counts for less in terms of moving the influence bar than the defending or than the attacking faction.
Yeah.
Because they are the underdog. They are buffed in the other direction. So that balance is not correct right now. Additionally, owning the fort also changes those numbers, but there is a hidden mechanic here as well, where territories, the longer a company owns them, the more likely, or the more this changes to enable people to rapidly declare war against them.
Yeah, to rapidly move that influence bar, essentially. Yeah. And yeah, like a lot of people, had their sort of assumptions when it came to this, that like something wasn't quite right. As with all the, in general, when you have a system that people are concerned that there's a bug in the system, and you've looked at the system, or as a developer, you've looked at the system and kind of gone, I'm fairly certain there isn't any bugs that are happening, then you have to kind of look at it and kind of think, well, maybe the way that the mechanic is set up at the moment, the way that the way that it's balanced might well be off. And we, after taking a good look at it, like clearly Scott has kind of come to the same conclusions as other people, like people thinking that it's a hidden exploit of some form that people are exploiting, when in actual fact it's not. It's just the fact that the way that the variety of mechanics that are associated with influences are kind of colliding with each other is causing the situation where people think there's some kind of bug, some kind of exploit. And if that's not the case, but is indicative of how the system is balanced, then clearly you do need to kind of look at that balance again and kind of, go, maybe something's not quite right.
Mm-hmm.
And so, fingers crossed we get that change, sooner rather than later. But as as the message from Scott says, like they want to do, they want to make sure that they uh, you know, review and test it as much as they can before releasing it. Because they don't want they basically don't want to either repeat of this or like the opposite effect, right? They want to pull it back from how absurd it is, but not to the point where it's the other way. You don't want to nerf it into the ground, but you don't want to buff it like crazy kind of thing, right? You don't want to be having this like seesaw effect. You want to kind of get to a good equilibrium, which is what we define as balance.
Mm-hmm. Now the other side of this is you want wars to happen.
Yes.
So even though a faction is being dominated, you want them to have an ability to come back and take territory, and be competitive, and have that battle also happen in the 50v50 where it is fair. So, there's a lot of people that would argue like, hey, like we've got more people than them, so of course we should be able to dominate them in the influence war. Well, yeah, but you can only dominate a faction so much before they start quitting. Because at that point it's unfair and it makes a large challenge. By creating a system that gives them a chance, then gives them once people would argue that it's not particularly well balanced at the moment, but 50v50 in terms of, putting two factions against each other on equal footing in terms of numbers, for the territory is a better way than, what currently happens. But
yes,
basically there's a balance challenge here of, how much influence should they get, how much should they not, how much buff and penalty should there be for this? No one really knows. Also, there does appear to be some kind of oddity surrounding invasions and the ability to turn in quests that seem to be wildly overvalued for influence. I don't know why this is the case, but it seems to be the case.
So there's I'm kind of wondering whether the same system that is meant to be there in place when a war is finalized, because apparently the way that it's meant to work when it comes to wars is once a war is completed, there should be this equilibrium kind of point where all the influence is reset. The underdog and overdog kind of bonuses basically kind of don't apply for a certain period of time, and then they start to sort of like come in, slowly kind of thing. I don't know whether that system is meant to be there after invasions, or whether people can or should be able to influence the sort of like the influence bar while an invasion is set to happen or is happening kind of thing. But if it essentially, I'm kind of wondering whether the bar is pushed by another faction to the point where it's contested, right? And then an invasion occurs, is concluded, and then straight after that conclusion, like it basically goes straight into contested war kind of status, right? I'm not sure whether that's happening or whether it's something else, but like there definitely seems to be some kind of issue when it comes to invasions, and like war being declared like very soon after an invasion has occurred or has finalized.
So there's also some issues with invasions that we ran into firsthand. So for those that don't know, invasions, you have to be level 50 to be in. The owning company of the territory is allowed to pick 10 people. They get 2 squads to fill up of people that they would like to play with. The other 40 are supposed to be randomly drawn. Unfortunately, there seems to be an issue, and this is reported that the owning company can kick people and have the server auto-roll based on the standby list to refill that spot. that's a problem.
Yeah, that is awkward. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, we were trying to get into one, and found out that we were kicked. Like, we had people get kicked like 6 or 7 times just trying to get their last dude in, and it was like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah, just a bit.
So, yeah. Invasions are supposed to happen relatively frequently, but they're also supposed to be, an opportunity for people to get involved, that would otherwise not get involved. It's not supposed to be a only your best, because it's meant to be something that keeps downgrading the territory and holding it from being all T5 everything all of the time. It's not supposed to be 100% win.
I believe it. I believe it ramps up in terms of intensity or in terms of difficulty, depending on how upgraded your settlement is.
The penalty for losing, if you have a low level settlement, is like 1 or 2 upgrades. The penalty for losing, if you have an all T5, every station is T5 across the board, is like 6 to 8 upgrades.
Which
so
is
like
expensive.
It's a slap to the face.
I mean,
it's also very expensive to repair.
That's a slap to the face and a knee into the groin. That's what that is.
So I think that's obviously something that we're hoping gets fixed. We don't know when the next patch is going to be. I keep looking to the other screen because
you're like,
they launched stuff the other day on us, and
yeah, I'm somewhat monitoring it myself as well.
Yeah.
But I'm also watching. I'm watching an ongoing war and the results of an ongoing war to see what that's like as well.
But that's influence. Obviously, like, it's a mechanic that they're still working on. It still needs some balance. But fundamentally, wars are also difficult. For anybody who's seen our first video from a war in this current server, I went like, what was the scoreboard on that one?
That was obscene. I mean, that's what that was. It was obscene, but that's because you were using fully upgraded. You're using fully upgraded turrets on people who are like level 30s at most.
I mean, it was only a little bit broken.
Saying that from the person who was racking up the kills, like, yeah, it's only a little bit broken, guys. Like, he's like, people are getting like slaughtered by the score,
Yeah. So, it is not particularly easy to attack. Defense definitely has the advantage. For those that don't know, when it comes to wars, defense through the town boards is able to upgrade their turrets, upgrade their emplacements, and all of that to tier 3 right off the break, and have them at tier 3 when the war starts. Offense, on the other hand, can have up to 10 turrets if they declare war, paying 50 or 15 grand. And from there, they start at tier 1 when they place them, and can upgrade them over time to tier 3. So that's a huge thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, don't skimp on your when you're declaring war on somebody. Don't skimp out and choose the lower tier. Like, go high level or go home.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I see it.
Absolutely. So that's a big thing. Invasions are specific to forts. The damage that they do also does damage to the settlement in terms of upgrades, because the two are linked. But yeah. So.
But we've said this previously, but when it comes to sort of attacking a fort from a priority standpoint, like, I mean, it should be public knowledge by now. If it isn't, then, like, clearly the word hasn't spread far enough yet. But, like, it should be public knowledge now. But the priority number 1 when you start a war, when you start a 50-on-50, is you need to remove the defending side's turrets.
Absolutely.
It's just that's the first kind of area. Then you have to win, and then after that, it is essentially winning the ground war. And from an attacker's standpoint, you have the advantage with being able to, to drop turrets and remove turrets and upgrade your turrets.
Yep. There is also currently an issue with wars regarding kind of desync and disconnections, where people will still crash out, especially like in the instances where it is almost all 50 on each side, both fighting over 1 point, and AoE is going insane. The server has a tendency to just come to a crawl and just show people as not moving. So that is an issue. That is definitely something they need to fix.
And they addressed it. They addressed one aspect of it in the 1.0.1 patch, right? With regards to wars, they changed the way that the projectiles were actually being. I don't think it's rendered, but basically being created as an object. They've changed it from actually being a physical object with a projectile kind of with a particular projectile arc, and basically a physicalized item inside the world, to being essentially hit scan. That kind of change was basically purely a change to to reduce the impact of large amount of projectiles being used in wars, that and the resulting sort of effect on the performance of the server.
And to echo a comment in chat here, I feel like sieges in real life, the defenders have the home field advantage, and the attackers come with the numbers advantage. That's correct.
They do.
And where the numbers advantage comes to play for the offense is actually in siege equipment, because they can obviously place their siege equipment and have it be up, have 10 of them, and be able to have all 10 of them focus on one area instead of the emplacements on the fort only being able to hit certain areas. Additionally, attackers can replace their siege equipment at any time and move them around, whereas defenders, once the turret's dead, it's dead, and that's it.
Yeah, so, and also, with regards to real life, like sieges in real life, obviously we're not talking about now, but we're talking, back in the day. We can call them blockades to some degree these days. But sieges back in the day, IRL, were month-long affairs, like multi-month-long affairs, sometimes even year-long affairs. Like, not this half-hour affair that we have in game. Like, you don't want to actually partake in a year-long or like year-long or more kind of siege, because it's a bit debilitating, and I should know.
Absolutely. All right, so we did a whole show on wars. If you guys are interested in that, it's on our YouTube. It's almost a 4-hour show, so you can feel
Wars
free
and
to
PvP,
check that one out. That was Wars and PvP. That was a really good show. But we actually still have like half of our agenda for tonight to keep talking.
Yeah.
So let's
crack on. Right.
Yep. So next we're going to talk about Prime drops. So
well, no. What you're saying is Prime loot.
Prime loot.
And this is something. This is something that I told you previously, and yeah, fair enough. We've gotten a little bit of stick in it in terms of in the Twitch chat. Fair enough. We accidentally, said the wrong phrase with regards to the title today. Like, it should have been Prime loot rather than Prime drops. Our bad.
Whoops.
But yes, let's talk about Prime loot.
So, for those that are unaware, if you have Prime, Amazon Prime, you also get what's called Prime Gaming. Prime Gaming entitles you to a bunch of free stuff across a variety of different games. Generally, it's skins and stuff like that. I know I've gotten a ton from Apex Legends. I've gotten a ton from even New World. But what came out today is the second part of the Pirate Pack. So, balls. That's not good.
What's up?
Nothing.
Well, that's not good. What's good? What happened? Nothing.
Yep.
Oh no.
Um,
It's all good.
so basically, those two kits have been the two that have come out on October 26th. The Robin
Yeah.
Hood Pack 1 comes out, and the Robin Hood 2 kit comes out on November 9th. That's going to be some good opportunities there to get some free stuff. And there's more after that even.
2 versions of the Robin Hood pack? Like what? Like
so like the pirate pack, it's going to be
Hood...
the apparel set and then the weapon skin set.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
I was wondering, like, what they're doing different variants, like Robin Hood Men in Tights version, and then the Robin Hood Prince of Thieves. like what?
All I know is that at some point in time, there's going to be a video
a huge saber.
Of a bunch of merry men in the woods who pop out of nowhere and start stealing from the rich and giving to the poor. Has to be done. So anyways, it's basically, I'm going to copy over the link for people. Hit that link in chat. That's going to get you your loot if you have Prime. Otherwise, if you're looking to sign up for Prime, now is as good as any time. You're talking. I'm a guy who literally does most of my shopping through Amazon. Somebody mentioned earlier they heard one of my devices go off with a notification. I just got a new shower curtain delivered by them.
Is it a smart shower curtain? I have to ask this because this is you were talking about.
No. They haven't put tech into shower curtains yet. But
Thank God.
So true. I do put a lot of
you
I have a lot of smart tech. I have a lot of smart tech. So that's the big stuff. Make sure to go get your skins. Make sure to collect on this whenever you can. It's out right now, and go for it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Sure. Beyond that, let's talk about more skins. So, Halloween event. People want this. Yeah. Muggsy. So we will have seasonal events, but not one for Halloween this year. We're very focused on addressing critical issues, bugs, and reacting to anything our community is surfacing to us. Unfortunately.
Yeah. So he's saying that there's no Halloween event, but that does not say that that does not say that there's no Halloween, content in some way, shape, or form.
Yes. There's no Halloween content. I don't know what all of these might be for. There are no way Halloween themed, even in the slightest.
So there may not be like some world, map wide event of some form, but I imagine, considering that they have skins ready to go with a very Halloween themed, that there's probably going to be those dropping as Halloween themed skins and that kind of thing. And you never know, some other random stuff. I don't know, but I think the emphasis here is that there may not be an event, but there's still going to be content of some form.
Mm-hmm. Now, keep in mind those were data mined. They were not. They're not confirmed to be in the game. They're just confirmed to be in the files of the game.
Okay. Oh, my bad.
That said, I think it would be silly of them to not capitalize on the opportunity of Halloween, and I think that a lot of the skins are actually really cool.
Oh, for sure. I definitely can see various different aspects of that of those particular skins kind of working really well in various different kind of combinations with stuff. Be good.
Yeah.
I definitely didn't buy 3 different armor sets just to combine all 3 of them, because I only wanted one aspect of one of the skins. But what can you do?
It is what it is.
It's like I can't preview just that helmet on the rest of that stuff, so I guess I'm just gonna have to buy it and see. And yeah.
Absolutely. So there was a patch upcoming We do not have news on it. We do have some leaks on it. And I realize that this is tiny. So.
Oh yeah, you're going to the
This is the Dr. Lupo video leaks from, or not leaks, but like information from Greg Henniger, who is the creator relations manager for Amazon Game Studio. I think I got his title right. Let me double check that. Creator relations lead. Yes. Score.
Yeah, there we go.
Yes. Greg is awesome. He works with both small and large creators. So for those that don't know, months ago he was working with us. We are, despite our numbers and despite the number of people in chat today and the taking the top of the category today, fundamentally we are small streamers.
Yes.
And have been for quite a while. Things to note.
We don't have the name recognition of people like Shroud, for example.
We've been in the same room as Shroud, ironically, because we got invited to some of the same events as him. But
okay.
It's kind of an interesting feeling having a small stream and being treated as though you're a big streamer. So it's much appreciated, and it's one of the things that has really made us have positive feelings about Amazon Games, because they do actually care about the little guy. It's not just about the biggest of the big. Thanks you for the sub, by the way.
Yeah.
And thank everybody else for the massive amount of follows. I know we took the notification off because it would have dominated chat. But sincerely, thank you guys. We do actually see those, and we see the notifications going like crazy here.
Oh yeah, because we haven't turned it off on the actual sort of alerts. Yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah. So the Azoth staff should be in the next patch. So for those that are having problems where the tier 3, tier 4, and tier 5 staffs all end up in your inventory and are bugged, hopefully that will be in the next patch. And yeah. So for those that don't know, and I'm going to drop Greg's Twitter in the chat here as well, at Greg Henniger. He's a great guy to get to know if you are in this for content creation, streaming, you name it. Fundamentally, go follow his Twitter. Great guy to follow and keep up to date with information on, because he's very, very good at what he does, and it's very appreciated from everybody in the community on how good he is at it. So,
yeah.
So let's talk next about chain spawning NPCs.
Oh yes, there was actually some questions with regards.
This is not the right link for that.
Is it not? Should be. Apologies if it isn't. But yeah,
here it is.
We had a little bit of conversation with regards to this in the chat a little earlier. Regarding exploits and all that kind of stuff, right? So this is a further clarification of what AGS kind of considers to be exploits. So it's not just like, oh, don't do that exploit, don't essentially a lot of people like to sort of think like, AGS has kind of said don't do that exploit in that location and don't do this exploit in this location, and this is more clarification in terms of an overall sort of status, right? So you want to read that out?
Yes. So thanks again for the reports. They do actually listen to the reports that you put in on the forums. It's really important that people maintain reporting things on the forums, make consistent threads, check and see if your problem exists elsewhere, continue to drive the conversation, and bring visibility to the problems that people are having. It's important, guys. It really is. They do take this seriously. I can tell you, after 3 years of sitting on the forums with these guys, they really do take it seriously. They really do attempt to fix everything the players bring forward. Please note that repeatedly chain spawning mobs is considered exploiting, and we will continue to investigate all cases and take further actions against accounts who abuse such mechanics.
Yes. And it's important to see.
Now, I think
in how
they've kind of dug their own grave on this particular one, because I don't see how this can be, it's not the player's fault for sitting there going, hey, the NPCs are spawning ridiculously quick here. We need to.
No, I don't think that, after saying that sort of thing, they can kind of like go, okay, now we're going to enact this, this moderation policy retroactively. I don't think that they would have a leg to stand on in that regard. Like, in every sort of sense, when I've had to deal with moderation policies, especially when it comes to game servers, and having to deal with the various different exploiting that people use in order to get one up on a clan or a community that they're at war with in some way, shape, or form, or combat, or sort of in some kind of struggle with. Like, fundamentally, every person, every kind of group that's in that situation is trying to find like an edge to be able to get one up against their competition, right? And invariably that ends up becoming utilizing exploits in some way, shape, or form, or getting so close to that line between abusing a bug and exploiting, kind of thing. And when it came to moderating that kind of stuff on other games, I've always seen it from a perspective of once you've said that this is an exploit, going forward from that point, people should be on notice to know that, like, if you carry on doing it, your chances are you could very well be moderated in some way, shape, or form. Like, if you retroactively start punishing people, like, that's always going to land really, really badly in any community, regardless of how, of whether they're toxic or not.
Absolutely. So that's it really is a big deal. Like, my hope is that they fix this. From the perspective who's also spent most of my time leveling as a healer. I can tell you that oftentimes I was called to assist people in an area where heals were vital. Like, things were respawning so quick that you couldn't get out without them respawning. And you were tanking the entire room the entire time because they, the second you killed them, they would just come back.
Yeah.
That's a mechanic that needs some work. Because the other side of that mechanic is that you also want to make sure that players aren't standing there waiting for the same boss to respawn 20 minutes later. So that's an important thing to know. There's more to it as well, but we will see what they do to actually fix this. It wouldn't surprise me if we saw a patch later this week. There is a reason that I keep looking off to the side, because
you keep looking at the forums to see if there's any new.
Yeah, I'm just waiting for the
post.
inevitable. Like, it's Tuesday, so like there's a decent chance that it could be today, but like,
yeah, there's a reason, because like the last the initial like 1.0.1 patch, right? Like, that was announced on a Tuesday, but late on a Tuesday, so basically essentially sort of around this time ish, but to be basically to be enacted on the servers and pushed to clients and stuff the following day, which was obviously Wednesday. So that's kind of why we're sort of thinking, chances are they're probably going to say something about the patch either today or very early tomorrow.
Absolutely. It's imminent, and it's going to have fixes that we're hoping for. As we should before, the Azoth staff stuff should be fixed. We can, as we talked about earlier in the program, I'm also hoping that we get additional news on changes to their moderation, and fixes to the support side of things, so that when people do get banned, they need to know exactly what they're banned for, so that they can appeal the ban. And those appeals need to go through pretty quickly, because it is a problem. People, the biggest thing is people need to know what they're banned for, because the assumption is that it's mass reporting. There is a level of mass reporting going on, but we don't know that that's actually the problem. You know,
See, I've always been very transparent when I've done moderation policy. The policy that I always used was essentially, all bans were done essentially in a very transparent way. We always um, from the very first post, included the associated evidence to say that, like, this person was banned for this particular reason,
yeah,
and if you have any grievances or have any issues with this, then you should contact a game moderator, right?
yeah,
Um, there was many times, like there was a fair amount of times where we had like moderators who you know were out in the game world and saw somebody abusing a glitch that we had previously said was a bannable offense in some way, shape, or form. But because they didn't have recording software running, you know we had to literally go I had to literally say, like, no, you can't just ban them and not have any evidence. You're gonna have to wait until they do it again, and make sure that you're recording there at that particular time, so you have the evidence there. Because without evidence, it's just your word against theirs. And in games where there's a lot of there's a very tribalistic kind of mentality, you'll find that there's lots of people who will decide to say that this moderator or that moderator is biased because of this or that connection, whether those connections are true or not. It doesn't matter.
absolutely.
If they can imply bias in any way, shape, or form, they will.
Now, one of the other things, like this is so, you know, we did a whole section of the show on moderation. One of the things that I want to hit on again here is that you can change your feed of information, like of chat, to just turn global off. Just don't talk in global. That's one of the fastest ways to get banned is to get over aggressive in global, and
yeah,
like, just turn off global. You don't have to chat in it. There's nothing valuable being said in global. Like,
but if you're if you're being heavy-handed against somebody, even in area chat, right? Like, that's still recorded. Somebody can still potentially report you if they feel like you're crossing some kind of boundary, some way, shape, or form. So don't think that, like, not talking in global, but like chewing someone's face off in area chat is going to be fine. Like, it just means that, like, you saying something in global isn't going to be picked up by 100 or 200 different other people, right? Or 1,000 other people.
So to clarify, like, you can chat with people, but
yeah,
a lot of people get baited into arguments and baited into heated discussions in global. It's just not a good idea, guys. Like, talk with your faction, talk with your company. Like, there are plenty of other people to talk with. Global is just not a great place to chat. Keeping in mind, we're not devs. We are not devs, so like, we're just content creators in the content creator program. Like, we're just giving you advice to potentially help you. So our solution, and hey, it's worked for me. Like, think about how many people hate me. There's 11,000 viewers, and on my mic's apparently going out.
Oops,
that's not good. There's 11,000 viewers. I moderate the subreddit. There are people who hate my guts, and I haven't managed to get a ban. Which, not a challenge.
Of people scores of people who hated you in Alpha 1, and there were some very vitriolic people who moved heaven and earth to be able to want to sully your name in some way, shape, or form, right? Like, and if all of those factors combined, you still haven't got a ban, like some kind of auto ban, in some way, shape, or form from mass reporting, then yeah, I'm skeptical about. Like,
it's definitely not a solution. Like, we need to be sure that there isn't a mass report. Like, that needs to if it exists, it needs to not happen. 100%.
Yeah.
No one here is arguing that in any way. No one is saying that it's a good thing.
No.
You know, it's important to note. No one is saying that that's a good thing that's happening. I think that people that
I've seen it happen in other games, and it's horrible because it's it's weaponizable by the players, and of course players are going to weaponize that sort of stuff. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I
So
think
that's
I
the
think in
reason why
game
it
right now
shouldn't
I've
be
said
a
like 2 things in global chat. Like, one of them was good fight after a war, and
yeah.
I mean, to be fair, that was after a war that I had like 87 kills. So like,
I mean,
one could
87
assume that
people
was
could've-
sarcasm, but like,
I mean,
good luck getting that out of
87
context.
I mean, at least 50 people could have mass reported you there,
Yeah,
and then asked another 50 people to mass report you.
yeah. So that's it's an unfortunate thing. Hopefully, we can get them to ensure that that's not the case. Muggsy has been stating that there is no automated bans, with the exception of Easy Anti-Cheat. Easy Anti-Cheat is an automated ban. Like, the reason for that is it will detect if you are doing memory edits and ban you.
And using
That
dodgy
said,
software.
If you're using dodgy software, it'll detect that and ban you. Like, so just note that like that exists, but that exists in every game. This mass reporting for other things, Muggsy has openly said. We're gonna dive right back into this topic, aren't we? Let's just go. Let's go. Let's take the plunge. We're doing this. All right. So, don't defend Muggsy. Muggsy's the community manager. What incentive does he have to keep this fire lit? Like, it's more work for him.
Exactly.
So now what's more likely? A company that has just started up the largest moderation program that they have ever run for the first time, and that moderation policy is not ironclad, and it doesn't have all of the standard operating procedures that it should require, and that it's got inconsistencies with who's been communicated what, or that they're using an auto ban feature for mass reporting that also doesn't seem to catch the gold spammers in chat for 20 plus hours. Like, they're either the best or absolute worst at their jobs, like, for setting that system up. Like, I just don't buy it. Like,
it just doesn't seem logical. It doesn't seem consistent. Like, if it's an auto ban, you shouldn't be able to. Those gold sellers should be out of chat so fucking fast.
Yeah. Now, I think this is where things get important. Like, my argument here is that the clarity on the ban needs to be the important part of this argument, because if you receive a ban, that is vital that you know what it was for, not just abusive chat. Well, okay, what did I say? What did I say that actually got me the ban? Give me the chat log so that I know what I did. That way, if you're getting banned for something that is not reasonable,
clearly
you can
not
turn
a break.
and say, hey, like, what the hell? But at the same time, if you get banned and your chat history looks like the chat history that we get on the subreddit, from the people who are like, why did I get banned? What do you think happened? Like, come on. Like, it's that kind of thing where, like, given I come at this from a perspective of moderating like 200,000 people on a subreddit, and it's the same stuff. Like, people are like, I was innocent, and it's like, we have your chat history. We have all of your post history on there. Like, we could see it.
I only called that guy a Nazi 5 times, and then berated his his lifestyle, his ethnicity, and all that kind of jazz. Like that's normal gamer speak. Like, no, it's not
No.
normal gamer speak.
Now,
Like,
the other side of this is, where is the line drawn for Amazon? Like, what is their version of what is acceptable? Because people might be coming at this from, Rust. And if you came from the Rust community, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You can't hide. If you came from that community, it is abrasive, it is aggressive, it is very inappropriate. Now, there are certain things that obviously we don't want to have in chat, and that you shouldn't have in chat. That said, where is that line drawn? What are people actually getting banned for? They should be giving details in, what exactly it is you're being banned for. What are the chat logs? What are the audio logs for what you said in voice chat that you got banned for? Like, give the reason more than a 2-word explanation. And I think that's important, because that's gonna reduce the amount of people that turn around and go, well, I just got mass reported and banned. Well, did you say something 12 hours ago that the moderator finally got up to that point in the queue and poof? Because that happens. Like, I can tell you, like, I'm not currently monitoring the subreddit at the moment. Hopefully there's somebody.
But you'll get round to it.
But I'll get around to it.
You'll get round.
And I'll go through the queue before I go to sleep tonight and clear out all of the bad stuff. At least the stuff that gets reported. But
and when those people catch a ban, and if those people
they're going to catch a ban at 11 o'clock at night when they said, hey, best wishes to your mother. Like, nothing bad about that, but what they got banned for was way on the other side of the line. And it's like,
and earlier on,
So, it's similar to the person who got banned for milking the cow. Went viral. Oh my God, she got banned for milking a cow. She didn't get banned for milking a cow. She got banned for abusive chat 4 hours before then. Like, that story doesn't hold up very well if you go back to when she was likely reported before she was streaming.
Yeah.
Like,
but this comes back around to, like, when you get that message saying that you're banned, that it should sort of say what you were banned for, right? Because otherwise you're left to assume, oh, I was banned because I said hi in global chat, or I was banned because I was milking a cow. Like, no, that's not what you're banned for.
Why do you torture yourself with such a thankless job? Being a Reddit moderator is the worst thing you can volunteer for. Like, hardcore. Do not do it. Trust me. It is a combination of not worth your time and not worth the hair that you have, or like, I got my hair cut today. I've got more gray in this hair going on, and I'm 99% sure it's not just to do with a high-stress job. It's a lot to do with Reddit.
We're going to need you to get. We're going to need to siphon some funds from the channel in order to get some, some hair coloring for you, just so you can hide those grays.
I'm actually oddly enough, I'm actually looking forward to going gray. Like, I know that's a weird thing to say, but like,
fair enough.
Like, kind of looking forward to that.
I mean, I'm just saying that, like, if certain companies want us to pitch products. No.
So, we're gonna bypass a few things, and we're gonna talk again. And I know everybody hates this topic at this point because we've covered it on the last 3 shows.
But it's vindication, man. Like, I think it's vindication.
Solid vindication right here of what we were saying last week. Additionally, actually, Hardcore Overclocking came out with a video that looks at a card that was burned using playing New World, but gives a good reason on why the card broke. And it is not based on anything that the game did. And a lot of the testing that J2 Sense has done, and a lot of the testing that a lot of the other YouTubers have done, we've been able to validate this and showcase that the 3000 series, as a whole, there are other cards. Now, keeping in mind, there are other cards in the NVIDIA lineup and the AMD lineup that also have some of these problems. So this is not new.
Yes.
Cards didn't just start failing this year.
No.
Some of the things that you need to know specifically about the 3000 series. It is some of the highest wattage cards you can buy, meaning they have a massive power draw that is over the majority of cards out there. They have an asymmetrical VRM design. Why does this matter? If you're doing overcurrent protection, you have to set your overcurrent protection for the side that allows more power in, which means on the side that doesn't allow for that much power through the VRMs, it has to be set for the same as the other side, which means, and as showcased by actually hardcore overclocking, that's the side that burnt. Literally a VRM blew up.
He literally has this, like, there's a set of VRMs like on the left hand side.
Mm-hmm.
There's literally, like, you can see there's a gap with like two little kind of like areas where solder would be. And that's literally the one that burnt that he literally took out.
Mm-hmm. So, there was a certain amount of poor design. The overcurrent protection in these cards is not set to what it should be. The overall design, asymmetrical design when it comes to VRMs, is just a bad idea. Additionally, all of the first 28 or 29 cards that EVGA received, all of them were cited as having poor solder, meaning manufacturing process was to blame. It was not, it was not an FPS cap. It was literally we built a bad card and it had, poor soldering joints between, I forget exactly what the connection was that went, but you can't push that much power through a poor soldered joint, like, simply put. There's the thing. I do have to also knock Tom's Hardware a little bit, keeping in mind I use them on a regular basis. Their reporting has been off and on. So
yeah, the consistency was not exactly been fantastic there, because like at one point they were saying like, it's all Amazon's fault because of the that these cards are blowing up, and then actually no, I think initially they were like it's a hardware defect, and then like literally like 2 weeks later they were like Amazon games like the new New World is blowing up cards, like with no reference to the fact that it might be a hardware issue rather than a software issue kind of thing. And now they've come back full circle to the it's definitely a hardware issue, it's not the game.
Again, and this happens in other games. on a prior stream, we pulled up a number of examples, including Alien Isolation. That's not a new game that burnt to 3090.
No. Exactly.
There's been a number of them that have been lost to Star Citizen. There's been a number of them that have been lost to Battlefield 5. There's been a number of them that have been lost to almost any game. Now, why are the numbers spiked for New World? This all comes down to player count.
Yeah, it's the latest thing on the block, right? It was the game that people were playing.
Yeah, when you get at one point there were 900,000 people playing concurrently. Like,
I'm not saying that like no other games were played at the in the sort of same time span that New World was being played. Like, we get that obviously there was a ton and a half of games being played, far in excess of the 900,000 that was playing New World. But you also have to factor in the whole like bashing Amazon is cool kind of factor.
Mm-hmm.
That seems to be a thing.
Yes. And Folded One actually puts in a really good comment here. I don't know why it got flagged by our AutoMod for approval here, but AIB are known for using low-quality MOSFETs and poor soldering on 3090s and 3080s to cut the cost of the GPU. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
And this has been happening pretty consistently. like actually very consistently. And this is, if you go to actually hardcore overclocking, the YouTube channel, this is the kind of guy who you need to listen to.
He's such an amazing nerd. Like, honestly.
Like, he's the kind of guy who's going to take the subcomponent off of the GPU to go, this is what's wrong with it, this is, how to fix it. He's going to go buy that subcomponent and replace it, and that's the kind of people you need to go to for this kind of information. The information that was pulled from J2Sense about the card's inability to moderate its overvolting to the point where it was, overvolting by 30% over what it was set to do, and not just in New World, like Raider, Tomb Raider. We're not talking about New World here. Yeah. Tomb Raider. The card was pulling 30% more power than the driver's hard set limit was. That's not a control anymore, that's a suggestion. Like, that means your overcurrent protection is not working. So that is clearly a design problem. That said, literally earlier today, I sent McLeod a question mark of like, should I buy a new gaming rig that has a 3090 in it? So I agree, they're phenomenal cards. They do a lot of work. We're not talking about the majority of these cards. We're talking about
very much the minority.
A subset of these cards that have defects, and there's always going to be cards that have weaker components. So just a reminder, if you're worried about your 3090, 3080, really not that big a deal. It's not very likely. Additionally, if it does fail, it's unfortunate, but your manufacturer definitely is going to cover that. Because that's a known defect at this point. So, with that, that actually hits the majority of what we aimed to talk about tonight.
Yes.
Amazon not putting it on Luna at launch, I don't understand the logic for. I feel like that would have been like a solid way to help sell the platform. But
yeah, that would have been pretty good.
Yeah. The game is not currently on mobile. I don't think there's any plans to bring it to mobile.
I mean,
that said,
if it was on Luna, you could potentially get it on mobile.
Yeah. They need to up their controller support, and whenever you see controller support come in, I think we're going to see a potential port to other systems coming quick after that.
That's the thing. Like, if we can get a port to other systems, because like I haven't played the full release with a controller yet, but I definitely played the preview with a controller support using a program called ReadWASD. If you guys know about it, like it's or not, like it's a fairly decent program for doing that kind of thing. Like, it has a lot of functionality, but I found it to be fairly easy to do, except a few kind of a few areas in the UI which got a bit finicky kind of thing. So like really the gameplay and the sort of like the various different
got it. Patch notes.
Relatively normal. Yeah.
You slice. They were gonna wait till we went offline.
Oh, what a bastard!
Got him. All right, we got patch notes live.
Give me a second, Ace. God damn it! Give me a second with this, right? But give me a second with this. Jesus Christ, man. But yeah, like, right. If they have controllers, if the game is like easy enough to kind of to rewire to controller support, using things like ReadWASD, then I can't see any reason why it shouldn't end up being ported to consoles and even to sort of things that you can use, on a mobile phone. Anyway, patch notes.
Patch notes. All right. First and foremost, we've updated the rates of influence gain over time so that it will continue to require significant effort over time to flip a territory into conflict state. Thank God! Yes!
Yes!
All right. Reduce the
we
amount of
knew this was
influence over
gonna happen.
time significantly for attacking factions, so that this is to account for a bug where there is an increase that was multiplied much faster than intended over time. Remove the decrease in influence over time for defending factions. Super. Awesome.
Yeah.
Great fix. Let's hope that it actually works. All right.
Yes.
Bug fixes.
Fair amount of bug fixes.
Fix an issue where players can respawn as a corpse.
Issue. I mean, if anything, that should just basically mean that they are, lost to the loss, right? They should end up basically playing as the lost at that point.
Absolutely.
But yeah, that might be an issue with them respawning as a corpse. Yeah, that's
absolutely. I need to edit our thing here.
It wouldn't. Okay. Fix various localization issues. Fix issue causing players kicked, suspended, banned, or removed from the game by easy anti-cheat to receive unclear communication. Additional meshing has been added so players can better understand the penalty they've received. Yay!
Okay, hey, so we've got moderation changes.
So we've got some moderation changes there.
If you get banned by easy anti-cheat, it's now going to tell you why you got banned. This is what I've been harping on for the last 2 hours. So that's huge.
I think there might be a bit of a slight error in this one. Fixed an issue causing territory influence to be reset after an invasion. I think maybe that is causing a territory influence to not be reset after an invasion. I don't know. I kind of feel like that might be the thing. Like, I don't know. This is. I wouldn't say first draft, but first release version of the notes. Anyway, gonna take the next one.
Fix an issue where players attempted to split stack or split amount stacked items from a different settlement their faction owns. Were charged for the entire cost. Okay, so there's a mechanic in which you can transfer stuff between 2 settlements that your faction owns that cost gold to transfer, but saves you a lot of time. Apparently, it was charging you the full amount of gold. Super.
Rather than just the split amount that you were trying to take over. Fix a game crash caused by a player targeting another player with a healing effect at the exact moment they fast traveled or teleported away. Well, looky. I remember that I actually submitted that particular bug right at the end of the open beta. Specifically. Which is fantastic. I'm glad they actually finally did fix that, though.
Fixed an issue.
That was one that...
Reducing variety and potential quantity of loot obtained from game modes and chests within the world. That is very vague.
Yes. But if anything, what that means is there's going to be an increased variety and increased quantity of loot in various different game modes and chests within the world, which is good, I think.
Yeah, that's definitely good.
Fixed an issue causing crafting bonuses to not provide minimum intended values. So obviously, when you're increasing, when you're crafting and you're adding like high quality stuff, it should be raising the minimum intended values for that kind of thing. And if there's an issue with that, then that also causes a lot more variation in the output of various different things that you're crafting. So I'm glad that that's fixed, because then that actually means that someone inputting high quality material actually gets the bonuses that high quality material is giving, which is good. Fix an issue where overflowing items in a storage transferred to a different territory. Oh, that's all good.
Okay. Fix an issue where petting Barkimedes caused the camera to jitter. Fix an issue where the ice pylon ability would not cool down. Oh, thank God. The ice pylon cooldown is fixed. Hopefully.
Yay.
They keep in mind, they also said the abandoning event thing was fixed in the last patch. So, we'll see.
So fixed issue, I have to wonder how they actually fix this issue, how they kind of solve this kind of thing, because basically there's an issue where settlement storage becomes massively overflowed if you have stuff on on market orders. I think the text here is a bit vague, but I'm fairly certain it means they're specifically meaning market orders, expired market orders, right? but basically, you know, when those expire, the stuff that you have there, if it's like a sell order, goes back to your settlement storage, and that can massively overload your settlement storage. I wonder how they actually fix that. Like, what happens to that stuff? I have to look into that.
Fixed an issue where players' movement could stutter after becoming encumbered from locking.
And that's probably the one that causes people to be able to like run really fast while encumbered, or move at regular speed when encumbered. So that's probably that.
Fixed an issue where there are not enough chests at Hapless Homestead to fulfill faction quest requirements. Thank God.
Thank fucking Christ for that. I hate, like, there definitely were other.
Go get 3 quests. Or go get 3 chests. There's 2 boxes.
There's 2
Stand
boxes.
here for an hour and
over
wait.
an hour. Yeah. Oh Jesus.
Oh.
Yeah, there were definitely other sort of quests that had something similar, and I do recall like putting in, you know, bug report, well, not sort of bug reports about that. So I'm glad they're fixing all of them. Like, I hope that's like the last one.
Fixed an issue causing players to randomly teleport. Okay.
why am I suddenly like in Morningdale? What? Like,
fix an issue where players disappear if standing still when a campsite, turret, or I'm assuming it's supposed to be campsite or turret blueprint is being held.
Yeah.
Interesting. Fixed a visual issue causing repeater turrets to appear as if they were firing projectiles at an angle that did not align with the turret.
Okay, that's definitely a visual oddity for sure. And also the fixed miscellaneous game crashes. So, you know, all the other miscellaneous game crashes that you had are now fixed. I would be inclined to say that's probably not all of the miscellaneous game crashes, but at least some of the miscellaneous game crashes.
So, fixed an issue where Marshjaw respawned slower than intended at the Flatfish Fishery. Thank God. Also fixed the bears that respawned faster than intended, and they called out the boar spawn at Boarsholm.
Yeah.
You know,
thank God for that.
Causing twice the number of boars to spawn.
That, in a weird way, I was kind of glad when I actually did get that quest, that there was somebody, like, when I actually rocked up to it, that were farming the hell out of it, because, like, yeah, if there was twice the number of boars, like, that could have been quite awkward to actually get through, considering the level and stuff. But yeah, we did cover the whole, like, respawn kind of abuse a little bit earlier on in the show. But I'm glad they're, like, yeah, they're also, you know, specifically looking at the boars at Borsheim.
And they've got some store fixes. Was there an Azoth staff?
I didn't see an Azoth.
I didn't see the Azoth.
Maybe I mean, maybe that might be one of the undocumented ones. I don't know. We'll have to check.
Alright. They've got some store fixes as well. Fixed an issue where players would be prompted to purchase an item they had previously started the unlocking process on in the store when trying to unlock another item immediately after. Okay. Fixed an issue causing store previews for skins to not work correctly when the player was actively wielding a weapon. Righteous Guardian armor skin would not change color in a war. It's kind of funny.
Well, that's awkward.
Yeah. Fix an issue where the runic bear armor would not change color in a war. I experienced that one.
Yeah.
And fix an issue causing incorrect poses when previewing store items. So, for those that are wondering when this is going to release, it will release at 3 a.m. Pacific Time, 10 a.m. UTC on October 13th. So tomorrow, kind of middle of the day, or early in the day.
10 a.m. UTC, so yeah, around about like 8 hours time. Oh no, 7 hours time. Yeah, I think programmer is right there, 7 hours time from now, approximately.
Also link to a forums announcement.
Mm-hmm.
That's 4 days. That's not the right one.
Does that not go to any?
We'll have more information on server transfers when they're ready. You can check out the forums announcements for initial details. In the meantime, you can find a list of bugs we've addressed below. Apparently, it's still not at the point where they're ready to release that. So,
okay,
but
that's fair enough.
It's a good start. I was hoping for a little bit more. I was hoping for the Azoth quests. They should have been in this one. I would assume that it's probably going to be a 2-hour downtime.
It may be extended like it did before, but we don't know. Yeah, we're not entirely certain. Like it could be extended. Like we don't know. Like we're not entirely certain. What's up?
We're holding a downtime to occur October 12th. It's a different date.
Oh, Jesus.
That date's already happened.
No,
they meant the 13th.
Yeah.
3 a.m. happened a long time ago today. So
yeah,
tomorrow, the estimated downtime is
been...
approximately 5 hours. They might have it online before that, but I'm assuming that based on last time they encountered some kind of problem, that they're turning around and going, instead of giving people kind of the run along of
just a few more hours, just a few more hours.
Give them a solid a few more hours to get things done and dealt with.
Yeah. So let's overestimate, and
yeah, overestimate.
We'll be delighted when it's less.
Yep.
Yeah. No, that makes sense.
Yep. So,
I'm glad that we that the show carried on to the point where we actually got the patch notes. Like that. Yeah. Couldn't have been more well timed. Like, thank you very much.
We did see them coming. Like it was literally a matter of like. This was definitely a thing.
We said it. We were expecting it, right?
Yeah,
we were expecting it. And there we go.
Absolutely.
I mean, lackluster fixes, but fixes are fixes, dude. Like, it may be lackluster, because it doesn't touch things that like have affected you. But I'll tell you right now, like if it has affected you, like, you're very happy for those fixes.
Absolutely. Now here's the other thing. I would prefer a lackluster list of fixes to a list of fixes that don't actually work.
Yes.
So, or make things worse. So I would prefer them to continue their testing, continue to make sure that the fixes actually do work. And I think that's better than it's better to have less and have it done right than it is to have a lot and done wrong.
Yes.
So, but with that is all we planned for tonight. I want to take a moment and I want to thank the flood of people that have come into the channel, that have all been hitting follow, all of the subscribers tonight. I want to especially mention our Patreons, all our new Discord members. You guys really help make things work.
Yeah, we can link to patch notes. Yeah, you can carry on with your spiel. I'll do that.
Yeah. Simply put, it really does help. We're going to be kicking off our YouTube content. Next week, we'll be introducing our new YouTube editor coming over from Eve. We just brought on board Juris Doctor, who focuses in on creating new player-specific content for Eve and guides and kind of evergreen content that should allow for some really cool and informative content on our YouTube to actually help that take off a little bit. Again, I can't say thank you enough, guys. And before you guys leave, a reminder to anybody who hasn't done this yet, do not forget, go to gaming.amazon.com. Here's the link for it. Go get your free loot. The second half of the pirate pack is on there. If you have Amazon Prime, it's yours. Go get it. Make sure that you claim it. So, with that, again, thank you guys. It's been an awesome show. If you want to come hang out in the Discord, you're more than welcome. We've got a large group of people that are always willing to chat in there. And yeah, till then,
Yeah.
we will see you guys in the new world.
Take care.